Okay, ready? Cue the music and reveal. Ready? Done. Cue the music. I'm just kidding. In true selfie style, I am doing the video because my wife is embarrassed. Ow. Ow! It was hot. It was cold. My wife is embarrassed that I'm doing a video like this. And so
And then you said ow because I splashed water at you.
And now, so I have to do this video in selfie style. But I think I can do it. I think I can show you how I make this. I would like to thank my wife for loaning me the kitchen. She's a good woman. I believe that I fathered all of the children that she has, and I can still see you. And also, she makes the best chimichurri. So right now, she's actually working on some of the potatoes, and we've also not for the chimichurri. We've also started a few other things here. You don't have to necessarily do this in any one order if you've got a lot of time, like if you're just prepping it for tomorrow. If you are trying to do it in a timely fashion, you're going to make the stuff for inside the empanadas, then do it tonight. You want to make sure that you go in a specific order, such as the eggs. You got to hard boil the eggs, you got to cook the potatoes, and you need to have a chance for those to cool down when you put it into the meat. It's hard to mash up the eggs and stuff correctly if it's too hot. So we're gonna hard boil eggs. She's making the potatoes. The key is do really small little pieces.
About a 1/4 inch.
About a 1/4 inch. And then you'll see we'll end up cooking this al dente. And I just wanted to prove that a man of my little intellect knows what al dente means.
Al dente is for pasta, but nice try.
Well, it can work. Okay, necessary items. Ground beef. Don't bother with the ham and cheese crap. Ground beef. You got to get the green olives. Now I like doing the pimento stuffed olives because that's just straight Argentine. You want to get salt. I guess this will do. We're out of the kosher, it looks like. Anytime you see a recipe, it's going to say olive oil. Everybody who's been in the Resistencia mission knows they go with straight vegetable oil. Garlic is going to be important here, and I already just got the chopped garlic in the thing, but you can do it. Onion, I forgot onion. Onion's going to be out here. Now, depending on where you served your mission, you might do things like a little bit of cumin, a little bit of paprika. You can do that to taste if you want. Here's the onion. My wife just slid that over to me, but you will chop the onion really fine, so you don't have to mince it. You do want to chop it. You want to chop it pretty fine. The onion and the garlic and the beef, the oil will be together. This as well. And then eventually we're going to add the potatoes. So here's the onion, by the way. We just mixed it up there, so it's not minced. It's not really big chop. It's still finely chopped, but Montreal steak seasoning works really well with the meat because it has salt, it's got pepper, it's got garlic already, and if you're one who likes the paprika and then small little red pepper flakes, then this actually works really well. Also, two very important things. You have to have your inspiration in the kitchen, which is my football helmet here, the Seahawks one, and Diet Cola, because that just makes everything so delicious. Okay, just put these into boiling water, potatoes. Just wanted to remind you that you do not want to overcook the potatoes. You want them to not be mushy, but you don't want them to be crunchy either. So, the steam is throwing off the... The steam is throwing off the focus. Okay, you do not, when you do the potatoes, you need to make sure that you cook them just the right amount of time. This is key. So I just put these in boiling water, so it'll be a while. But you do not want them to be mushy. You want them to be just right. You don't want them to be crunchy either. So they've got to be cooked cooked, so they're not too much. They're not too soft. They're not too hard. If they become a mush, then the whole thing gets kind of mushy inside the empanada. So you don't want that. You want the potatoes to stand alone, but at the same time you don't want to undercook them. Okay, we've got the potatoes here. We've been cooking. We've been boiling them, and just try one of those out. You really want to make sure that they're not too crispy, that they are. They're not mushy, but they're not crunchy. Oh, let's try that out. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Over here we've got the hard-boiled eggs. I've taken the shells off of them, and these are pretty much ready to go. So we've got the hard-boiled eggs done. We've got the potatoes that I'm about to empty out and rinse off. So now we're on to the beef. Alright, next up we're cooking the ground beef. So I like to use a nice deep pan, because then when the oils and the meat and stuff, it all gets mixed up, it gets pretty high. I've gone shorter before and it was not high enough. So first thing you put in, well, first you turn your stuff on. Just turn it to a medium or so. You put in the vegetable oil. You know, Argentines will put in enough vegetable oil to cook it, and then they'll add half a bottle. But we're not going to put that much, so we're just going to put a little bit. What we're going to do first is we're going to cook the onion. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to add the garlic and the onion. Now it looks like a lot of onion, I know. Yes, it is, but we're gonna make sure that this is nice and hot first. So we're gonna wait till the oil's nice and hot, then we're gonna add the garlic and the onion. Hey, I'm back. My wife has agreed to run the camera here in Brandon's kitchen. Well, wait, what are you doing?
Waving hello.
Oh, hi, that's her. Okay, so I'm gonna put the garlic and the onion in the pan where the oil is starting to crackle a little bit. So let's not have it crack on my hand. Alright, so we got onion. We're going to add a little bit of...
You really want to let the onion cook a little bit first, because you'll burn the garlic.
You'll burn the garlic, so let the onion cook just a little bit first. You don't want to burn the garlic. Woo, that's strong. So at this point, you just wait a little bit for the onion. And you don't want it to burn, so you need to keep stirring it every so often. You want the onion to sweat. And while you're waiting, you can entertain yourself by singing. For example, respirar a pleno pulmón. La brisa marina que sube, que baja, que sale debajo del lago del fondo del mar. El chico ye parece una nena con tanta melena. Okay. So, I am Brandon Rachel Ray Chapman. That covers me and all the effeminate sides of me. Okay. So I'm going with the full finger and the... Well, one hand is on the camera, so it's hard. I'm contaminating the garlic. Alright. So as you can see, I've added some garlic. Not yet. And then soon, my hot wife will be adding the ground beef. So, true Argentine style, though, dictates that we do all this first in the olive oil. No, not olive oil, the vegetable oil. So, we have allowed the onion to sweat. We've added the garlic, and now we're gonna throw in the beef. Yeah. Go to right here. So leave that extra half. There you go. So that's, how much was that? 1 1/3 pound?
This was 3 pounds, I think.
3 pounds, so we used 2
2 to 2.5.
2 to 2.5 pounds. There's nothing wrong either in having a little bit left over. I've discovered that the empanada filling, if you use up all your dough and you have a little more filling, it works really well in like a hash or something. As a hash, you just heat it up in the morning because it already has the egg and the potato and all that. So don't be afraid to make a lot of filling. So we're going to just brown this. For right now, we're not going to put anything quite in it yet, but we will in just a little bit. Okay, I'm now browning this. I've given the onion and garlic mix a chance to meld with the ground beef. I might just be making up words here. And now is when I'm going to add a little bit of the seasoning here. Like I mentioned, we got salt, black pepper, stuff like that. I like using this Montreal steak seasoning because it has the salt, it's got black pepper, red pepper, little red pepper flakes, it's got garlic already, and it does have paprika. So the key is you use this kind of liberally. So put some of that in. We used a fairly lean ground beef on this, which means when this is all done, I'm not going to drain it. I'm going to let it cook down until it kind of cooks out. If you were using really fatty beef, then you might want to do that. If you're using the lean ground beef, then just kind of let it cook down, because you want to keep the juices. The juices are going to make it really good inside the empanada. So just let this go for a little while. The ground beef is almost done cooking as far as cooking through, so now you let it keep going until some of this fluid, some of it can cook down a little bit. You're not going to put the potatoes or the egg in yet. We're going to cool off some of the ground beef a little bit. We can taste it and just see if it tastes good. It's delicious. So when we add the egg and the potato, it'll be good. Here's kind of a key. You don't want to put too much salt in, but you don't want to make it bland, because the potato and the egg doesn't really have a lot of flavor to it, and it really kind of dilutes the seasoning. So if you want it like a good Resistencia Argentine empanada, put a healthy amount of the seasoning, like a healthy amount of this, but don't overdo it.
I always think that he overseasons it, because I tasted it and I'm like, that's a lot of seasoning. I'm sure that was a beautiful taste too. But by the time you put all the stuff together and wrap it in the shells, it is perfectly seasoned.
This is the first time you've ever agreed with me. We're just waiting.
Miracles can happen.
Oh, whatever. We're just going to point out that we are this is the little mixture that we're doing for the dough. We're making the dough this time, but you can get the already done tapas at a lot of different places. Here in Pullman, where we live, we cannot find them anywhere. You can get them online actually really cheap. You have to buy them in bulk though, so you get like 16 packages of them. They do freeze. You get 16 packages. I was looking at it, like the Goya brand, for pretty cheap actually. If you go with the Goya, then they're called discos para empanadas, and if you go with a lot of other brands, they call them their tapas para empanadas. So you can look that up, and they have them on like Amazon, but I don't think they're the best price. If you just Googled them, there's even a company in Argentina that ships them, and they do all their stuff online. It's like a Latin online market, and it's really good prices too. So that's an easy way to do it. So we're gonna let this cool down now. I've turned off the heat, and when it cools down just a little bit, then we're gonna add the green olives. We're gonna add the egg and the potato. Okay, I just took the hard-boiled eggs and I just took them in my hands, and I just kind of tore them up is what I did, and So they're not in tiny pieces. I mean, I tore them up pretty good, but they're still nice egg chunks. And then you just mix it all in. Now I'm going to go to the potatoes next. Alright, I have mixed the potatoes in. I also took a bunch of green olives. I probably took 15 green olives. And I don't know if you can see this. So I broke it up. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. So the green olives probably got broken into maybe 3-4 pieces. And since it was cool enough, the potatoes were cool enough, and the beef was cool enough, it mixed really nicely. So once you mix it all, at this point you want to probably stop mixing. You don't want to mix too much more because then it'll turn it into a mush. So, but we're going to let this cool down, and you don't want it to be too hot when you put it in the dough. It'll kind of melt through the dough. So we're going to just wait for it to cool down now until the dough is ready. And if you have the tapas that you buy in the store, then those are ready to use. As long as they're not frozen, so they're kind of room temp, they'll be ready to use. It's time to really make empanadas yummy by doing the chimichurri. Yes, here is good Russian woman. Okay.
Not Russian.
Okay. She's Russian to make me happy. Okay, I'm so funny. Alright, so...
Are you really?
Onion, parsley, vegetable oil.
White vinegar.
Where's the white vinegar?
Up in the cupboard.
White vinegar.
Salt and garlic.
Salt and garlic. Those are the things. One more time to recap. Parsley, onion, vegetable oil, white vinegar, salt. This is salt and garlic. And I will say that for chimichurri, regular salt is easier than kosher salt. Yes. So you can get this nice and fine. She's making a big batch, but whatever we're actually measuring it out this time because we usually do it to taste. She's really good at just knowing what it is. We're measuring it out, and whatever it is, if it's a huge batch, which we're doing, which is pretty big, you can just cut it in half or whatever. But I will actually send that in written form. Okay, so a cup of onion is what it turned out to be. So it was a cup of parsley, almost a cup of onion. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio basically. So she's putting this in this Corningware, which is nice because then you can shake it, I guess, put a lid on it and really mix it in, right? Because that's the way we do things.
You're the biggest nerd I've ever met.
Yes, and who might you be? Okay, so she's going to drizzle the oil until when?
Oh, I shouldn't measure the oil. Until
it's covered. It's like
it rehydrates the parsley, and it's really chimichurri is really like a dipping oil, is what it really.
I'm too close. Your face is pointing when I'm this close to the camera.
Well, back up, Jack.
She told me. Okay, so it rehydrates the parsley, and this is important to consider that. So she's going to stir this in, not the way I'd stir it. I'd put it in a big bowl and just shake it with a lid on it. But then I would bruise the parsley or something.
You don't do things the right way.
And that's on video now. I can never take that back. What?
Now the whole world knows.
The whole world knows that I'm an idiot. It took this video to figure that out.
All the other daily requirements.
Daily requirements?
Yeah.
And now you're ready to earn screen time? Mom, what's a chore that he can do to earn screen time? How about you straighten up in the... Come here.
Oh, you can mop in the kitchen.
Well, let's have him straighten up in this room. So see all those Legos that are on the floor? There's just Legos in different places. Will you put those
Recording that too?
back on the Lego table? I am.
Why?
It's just still recording. Okay, if you'll straighten up, then I'll give you 15 minutes of screen time. Make sure you put everything where it belongs though, okay, bud? Yes? Okay. That was just a little intermission for everybody's enjoyment. So you can see how it's kind of like like a consistency of mud, basically.
There's enough oil that there's a
sheen of
on the top. You don't want any of the parsley and the onions to be dry. You want there to be enough oil for all of it.
You don't want it drowning. Like, you don't want so much oil that it's drowning in it, but you just barely need a nice coat over the top.
In fact, I'm going to add just a tiny bit.
She's going to put a little bit more.
That's better.
Have you done... Is this...
I've done all of it, Dad.
Whoa, wow, somebody's grumpy. Somebody need a nap. Oh, does Hiram need a nap? Thank you for flashing everybody. Hey, what do you need to do to earn screen time, bud?
I've done everything.
To earn screen time, though. Your daily requirements don't earn your screen time.
I vacuumed downstairs for Grandma.
Well, that's like 15 minutes. Okay, now what? Ooh, the disciplinarian on video. Okay. I meant me, not you. Okay.
About a tablespoon of garlic is what I've decided would be a good...
About a tablespoon of garlic.
For this size of a thing, a tablespoon of garlic.
First, just some context. It's a Corningware. It's one of these smaller-ish Corningwares.
And in fact, I'm going to even do more garlic because the garlic...
Tablespoon and a half?
I'm going to do 2 tablespoons. So if you were halving this, if you were doing a half a cup of parsley and a half an onion, then I would...
That does make me wonder, is it
1 tablespoon of garlic.
Is it halving or having? Like halving? To having? Or is it halving?
So I would... That's probably 3 or 4 cloves of garlic in a tablespoon.
Right. 3 or 4 cloves. The goal of chimichurri is basically everybody has to have it in a.
Oh yes.
Everybody in a partnership. What do you call it? A marriage.
Relationship.
A relationship must have it, or else one person's breath will keep the other person awake all night long.
All night long and the next day.
And the next day. And is this the right amount? Well, for our inspiration, we go to the Seahawks helmet. Yes,
okay.
It is. Okay.
So this has to soak for a while, at least an hour, so the parsley gets rehydrated and
then you can check it. You stir it again. You taste test it, and then you add salt.
Meld. So then you add the salt and some vinegar, and I'll try to measure the vinegar to see how much I actually use, because I really just do it to taste. But until you've tasted good chimichurri, you don't know how much vinegar to add.
So basically what happened was by accident, we went to an Argentine restaurant in North Bergen, classy place in New Jersey, and they had chimichurri, and it was really good, and after that she knew.
Yeah, because we'd tried it before.
Uh-huh.
We had tried it before. We'd looked up recipes online, and they were never any good. And we bought the stuff in the store, and that stuff was awful. So it wasn't until we went to this restaurant that I had authentic chimichurri that I could go home and make real chimichurri.
Okay.
And that's going to be a great video.
Ow, you just flicked me in the nipple.
Purple nipple!
All right, we'll come back after an hour.
But
Hi! It's me again! In La Cocina de Chapman.
so
Okay.
we buy them at the store because we live in
Got your shell.
Hispanic
In this case,
community.
my wife made the dough, but you get the discos or the tapas. You can get these things on Amazon, and you can get the whole set for like $5. But all you really need is this one. This is the big one. But sometimes it's fun to do the small ones for the kids. So you get it on there. Just make sure it's stretched out enough to cover the whole thing.
Yummy.
This is pretty self-explanatory, but
These are pretty good fried, but
so you put the stuff in. You can't put so much that it won't close. So I put a nice big spoonful here. Would you put a little more in this? A little more? A little less? Just do a dollop more. I just used the word dollop. It's so sweet. And then, it's hard to do with one hand. It's hard to do. I can't do it with one hand. Thanks, Rhino, except grab this side. There you go. Alright, so I go ahead and close it. Sometimes when you get down to a position like this...
See, you added too much.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
You can stuff it down and then put a little bit more. Okay. Now, you go ahead and really close that up good. When you open, what do you have, man? It's an empanada. I have now put all these empanadas together. They look delicious, except for there's a couple things we can do to give them a nice looking brown, crispy outside.
Oh, we're gonna do an egg wash.
We're gonna do an egg wash. So
You just take some egg.
you take some egg.
Water.
Da da da.
Da da da. I like that.
Da da da. And you don't have to do it now because we're not gonna put them in yet. Yeah, but you coat them, bake them, and the last thing to do is show you how delicious they are when they accidentally fall into my mouth.
Show the chimichurri.
Oh, the chimichurri. We changed. We made even more. So, there we go. So here's the chimichurri.
We made some changes, so we'll have the recipe.
Yep. Did a few things. We put a little more onion in it. We did it to taste and realized it needed more onion. But I will post the written recipe. Here are the empanadas ready to go in the oven. Those that are not quite ready but will be soon. And the chimichurri. But wait, there's more. Here is the oven with the empanadas in them. You can see they're browning up rather nicely. Pretty soon we will have a delicious meal to eat. Yum, yum. Mmm. Yum, 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 yum. Oh. Mmm. It's delicious.